Hey Mantis, today is May 7th. It's a Thursday. We're going to cover a few things. I'm going to show you what you're going to do. When you go into Google Classroom, you'll see attendance, which you do first. Check out the scope, objective, and essential question because it's a little bit different. And then the other piece that we're going to do is women in ancient civilizations. You'll be watching short video clips and reading texts that portray various women of ancient civilizations. You can answer the questions that go with each modality, which is a different way of expressing things like words or images or video, etc. You're going to follow those directions. Now, you're going to pick one of the two ways to do this, one of the two below, either Docs or Slides, either Google Documents or Google Slides for your work. You should be able to edit either as it is your own copy. And don't forget to turn it in when you're done. So one of them looks like this. This is the Google Doc. Now you're going to use this, the APE method. Answer the question, proof from the video, or maybe the text, and explain. So start your answer with part of the question. Your proof from the video is citing evidence to support it. And the explain is, I thought this because blank, or blank happened because whatever it is that you're concluding there. You notice the question prompts here. What was a woman's role in ancient Roman society? How does that role compare to women today? Now, there's a video that goes with this. It's about, I'll show you, like 6 minutes or so, and answer those questions over here. And this is an area where you should be able to type. Now, part 2, ancient Egypt. Hatshepsut, women of ancient Egypt text. Both of these are little videos as well. You see that? Or this one, which is actually text. You can do some reading there. And how were the roles of women in Egypt different from other civilizations? How were women viewed by men? Answer those questions there. Part 3 is on ancient Greece, where you have a little video here on Spartan women and Athenian women. You're going to compare these two. Compare and contrast life for women in Athens and Sparta. How are women's rights in Greece different from the rights of women in the USA today? Would you rather be a woman in Athens or Sparta, and why? Now, ancient Mesopotamia is the second to last part. You can see that the 4 facts about Mesopotamian women are another little brief video. And you can answer this. How does the tradition of marriage and family relationships differ between Mesopotamian women and women today? What about Queen Shagshag's temple set her apart from other women in this period? Pardon the typo there with the F. And finally, part 5, in ancient Islam, women in Islam. Another video there. And there's actually 2 parts there. Okay, so what were the some of the careers or jobs of Aisha, and how was Aisha's life different from women in Greece and Rome? So this is one way to look at it. The other way, let me pull this out of the way for you, is slides, where it's all kind of compacted together. And for this one, you're going to have to be able to edit the slides just by clicking on it. So you can see this. That's the video. You answer right in this part here. So, and they go through and break up all the questions there. See this? This part is text. You'll have to open that up in order to do it. Another video. Another video. Another video. And finally, for all these questions, you'll see these. And this final one. So some of the career jobs of Aisha, and how was Aisha's life different from women in Greece and Rome? A little bit of thinking that's going on here. Now, as you're watching these slides and wanting to edit them, you cannot be in preset mode in order to do that. They have to be on sort of this review mode. Having it this way allows you to have the video on one side directly next to where you're typing, where you're writing. So you can pause the video, type something, pause the video again, and it's right next to each other. So we wanted to set it up that way so that it's a little bit easier. Now the reading piece, let me pull this out. could click on it or open it up in another window, and then drag it over for your viewing. So this is from a Good History Mag on Women of Ancient Egypt, where it's describing women in ancient Egypt were ahead of their time. They could not only rule the country, but also had many of the same basic human rights as men. One of the first women to hold the rank of pharaoh was Hatshepsut, who began her rule in about 1500 BCE. Hatshepsut took care of her people and built temples to the gods as well as other public buildings. Egyptian custom dictated that a pharaoh who was considered a god could not marry a mortal. As a result, pharaohs chose spouses from within the royal family. Her husband, Thutmose, was her half-brother. Now, Nefertiti was another Egyptian ruler. She married Amenhotep IV, who preached and supported monotheism, or the belief in only one god. Cleopatra became the most famous of Egypt's female leaders. She was extremely intelligent and ambitious and spoke several languages. She even studied astronomy. At 18, she became Queen of Egypt. This is romance and tragedy in Cleopatra's court. Cleopatra constantly battled jealous, ambitious people who wanted to kill her and occupy her throne. For a time, she was removed from power and banished. She sought help from Julius Caesar, the leader of the powerful Roman Republic. When Caesar visited Alexandria, a large Egyptian city, Cleopatra saw her chance. She could not even enter the city to see Caesar because her jealous brother hired spies to kill her on sight. Craftily, she sneaked into the city, rolled in a carpet. She was brought in to Caesar, and the two developed a relationship. The couple had a son named Cicerone, and Caesar helped her recapture the throne. The relationship ended abruptly when rival Roman rulers murdered Caesar in the Roman Senate. Now, Mark Antony, to continue here, when Mark Antony became leader of Rome, he too fell in love with Cleopatra. The two had children together, ruled the most powerful empires of the Mediterranean. Eventually, a rival defeated Antony's army, and Antony drew a sword on himself in despair. As he was dying, he wanted to see Cleopatra one last time. He died in her arms. Later, Cleopatra killed herself by placing a poisonous snake on her chest. The greatest political soap opera of the age was now over. This is The Right Stuff. There were examples of elite Egyptian women, but what about the common folk? A woman's role as mother and wife still came first in Egyptian society. Some professions in which women worked included weaving, perfume making, and entertainment. Egyptian women could have their own businesses, own and sell property, and serve as witnesses in court cases. Unlike most women in the Middle East, they were even permitted to be in the company of men. They could escape bad marriages by divorcing and remarrying, and women were entitled to 1/3 of the property their husband owned. The political and economic rights Egyptian women enjoyed made them the most liberated females of their time. So what we have is really a social structure. When we're asking, and this is going back to our original scope and sequence, the social structures unit introduces students to the roles of people within societies and how those roles impacted their daily lives. Students will analyze social structures from various ancient civilizations to determine the effect social class has on a person's political and economic power. They will also determine how the hierarchies found within ancient societies represented the beliefs and values of people within each civilization. So how did a civilization's social hierarchy determine the rights and responsibilities of its people? So what we've looked at today is women and what role they play in hierarchy and how this impacted them and how this impacted society as a whole.